everyone, welcome back. So now we know why the people of Syria are celebrating. So as someone who comes from Europe, the first thing that I think of when I hear the word Syria is Syrian refugees. So for the past, more than a decade, many European countries have been flooded with people who have ran away from the conflict in Syria because so much destruction happened over the course of maybe the last 10 years specifically, but it started in 1960. So recently, the president, Bashar al-Assad, has fled to Russia suddenly out of nowhere, and Syrian rebels have been able to capture the capital city of Damascus. And politically, before, Syria was a bastion of kind of sanctity for Russia and Iran in that region of the world. So they were using Syria as kind of like a pawn in their own political games. So the people of Syria have had a really hard time for many, many years now. And so now that he has suddenly fled to Russia, it has enabled all of his prisoners to be able to escape from the jails. So usually if you think about that in other terms, suddenly prisoners escaping from a jail would not be a good thing. However, these were almost prisoners of war, people who hadn't done anything or had just stood against Assad, and now they are free. Finally, they can enjoy their free life again. And after decades of destruction for the buildings, the history of Syria, and also just the immense loss of life. It's reported that almost 500,000 people have died during this conflict. I really hope that this can be a new start for Syria, and that going forward, they can have a new non-autocratic government that will treat the people kindly, and finally they can rebuild their towns and cities, and the people that did seek refugee status in Europe or anywhere else in the world can finally go home and get back together with their families and start to rebuild their lives again. So really it's a joyous situation that happened so suddenly and so unexpectedly. So how do sudden political changes affect the people living in that country, do you think?
Well, it'll depend, like if it's a good thing, for example, in this case where, it'll be nice to no longer associate just those two words together, Syrian refugees, like you said. Like that's something that I always, like they just come together,
yes,
those
right.
two words. So it'll be nice for them to go back to normal, or what it used to be before, I don't know if they even remember what normal is, but just having a better quality of life in their home country. But the sudden political changes, like they could be for the better, like in this case, or it could be for the worse. In some other countries, dictators take over and they just make a lot of wild decisions. Just recently in Korea, they had that wild thing happening with the president.
Right.
So it creates a lot of chaos because people don't know how to react to this sudden change, whether it be good or bad. It's just too sudden, so people, of course, are not going to be able to react appropriately to the situation.
So there's the phrase like the road to failure is paved with good intentions. So as you said, I think when there's a sudden political change, it's very important that the people who rush in to take power are not another type of evil or another type of bad situation, because I think that many politicians will enter their job with good intentions, but over time maybe power changes them, or just they start doing the thing that's the easiest rather than the right thing to do. And so yes, I think that the people who rush in first are often not the best choice for a country. So I hope that Syria is able to have a democratic election to pick a new leader during this time. So what are the long-term effects of an autocratic regime's collapse on the country or region?
Well, the long-term effects, it just means that that country will never be as it once was.
Yes.
It completely restructures it. It affects every part of the life of the people that are living there, from what the media that they consume, the things that they have access to in terms of do they have access to water or safe access to education, just everything. It impacts everything. So any changes from the top, it's always going to trickle down, and it seems to affect mostly the people at the very bottom.
Yes.
So yeah,
I agree. The one that came to mind for me was Afghanistan. So in recent years, the Taliban have come back into Afghanistan and are kind of denying civil liberties to, as you said, the common people, the people who are at the bottom of the food pyramid. But previously to that, after their autocratic leader was removed from power, I think a lot of common people felt very prosperous, like their lives had changed for the better. They had more freedom, education was more widely available to both men and women, and daily life became safer. I think people could leave their house without feeling fear that maybe like a shell was going to fall from the sky or something like that. So I think with proper management, I think the long-term effects of the regime can be forgotten.
Maybe after a really
long time, but I think that the shadow of it will always loom over people because, as you said, like the country was changed forever because of the leadership style of someone. So yes, maybe generations into the future, it will be like ancient history at that point, and I really hope that a more freedom,
a more prosperous future.
More prosperous, more democratic future is awaiting the people of Syria. So we hope that you enjoyed the article today. Make sure you check out the vocabulary, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Autocratic.
Autocratic.
Wipe out.
Wipe out.
Bastion.
Bastion.
Beacon.
Beacon.
Topple.
Topple.